All right, thanks, Amit. Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the second session for today. We had a very wonderful plenary session before this by Dr. Teresa Crimmins. If you missed it, please go check out the YouTube link on the channel, and you can also ask questions for Dr. Teresa over there. We'll move on now to a panel discussion uh, on the use of citizen science in education spaces in India. The motivation to do this particular panel discussion was this, in the past 15, 20 years, citizen science has come up in a big way. And it is an ideal tool to use for pedagogy and for education. In fact, there are studies across the world which have shown that citizen science increases scientific literacy along with contributing to science, and has a whole lot of other beneficial advantages like, children forming emotional attachment to nature, some of which we also heard in Dr. Teresa's talk earlier today. Today, we have a very lovely group of panelists here to discuss how they have used citizen science in their pedagogy. These are people who have thought outside the rigid pedagogy box of the Indian education system to really introduce new and innovative ways of learning about the environment that we live in. The panel discussion will be like this. We will first hear from all of our panelists. I'll introduce them briefly, and then we'll hear from each one of them. We'll ask them a question, and they will be responding for that. And at the end of this, introduction from each of the panelists, the floor will be open for the audience to ask questions, and then we will have a little conclusion at the end. With that, I'll introduce our first panelist, who is Sujatha Mundolly. She has been a school teacher for more than 19 years now, and she teaches at the government upper primary school in Kongad in Palakkad, Kerala. She has a postgraduate degree in economics, and her philosophy is in blending awareness of nature, environmental sustainability, and social responsibility with academic learning. And she does this through learner-centered teaching and a lot of extracurricular activities. Sujatha has received a number of awards and accolades at the Kerala state level and the national level, including a national award given by the Progressive Curriculum Management in 2020. Sujatha will be speaking to us in Malayalam today, and I will try my best to translate. But in case I miss out something, I request other Malayalam speakers in our audience to please, fill in those gaps in the chat in the panel channel. So welcome, Sujatha. We are very happy to have you here. Our next panelist is Arun Venkataramanan. Arun is a conservationist, educator, and a forest nurturer. He's an engineer by training, and he worked in that field for 7 years before switching his career to teaching. And he has worked as an environmental education teacher in the Krishnamurti Foundation School for 12 years. Arun also has completed 25 years of sea turtle conservation in Chennai with the SSTN. And in the past 14 years, he's been involved with the ecological restoration in the Tiruvannamalai region. Arun was awarded the Wildlife Service Award for 2022, and he now lives in Tiruvannamalai in an organic farm where he and his team members run an alternative school called Marudam Farm School. This school is primarily for local children, though they also have children from different backgrounds studying together. And the focus of this school is nature-based and experiential learning. So welcome, Arun. We are very happy to have you here on the panel. Our third panelist for today is Bhuvan Pathak. Bhuvan received her PhD from the University of Arkansas in Cell and Molecular Biology in 2019. She has 2 master's degrees in biotechnology and agronomy from Sardar Patel University and the University of Florida. She is currently working as an assistant professor at Ahmedabad University in Gujarat, where she is pursuing research in oilseed crops such as peanuts and soybeans, and improvement through genome editing approaches. Because of her keen interest and leadership, she was instrumental in Ahmedabad University, including a citizen science project, which is Season Watch, as part of their curriculum, which is a pioneering move, I think. I don't think any other college, to my knowledge, has included an existing citizen science program in their curriculum. So thanks for that, Bhuvan, and welcome. Our final panelist for today is Shyam Phartyal. So Shyam is an associate professor at Nalanda University. He holds a PhD in forestry from FRI Dehradun. His postdoctoral work was on soil seed bank ecology of the Brussels city forests in Germany, after which he was awarded a research associateship by CSIR to work on seed biology of medicinal plants. He is a recipient of the prestigious JSPS postdoctoral fellowship from the Japanese Society for Promotion of Science, and he's worked at the Hokkaido University in Japan also. He's also the recipient of the Humboldt Research Fellowship. In Nalanda, he's doing really exciting things, like he's designed and taught a course on citizen science, and he has been co-teaching other courses like functional ecology, biodiversity conservation, agroforestry, seed ecology, and among many others. So thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this, and welcome, Shyam. So we are all very excited to have you all here. And we will begin the panel discussion with the questions to each one of you, and later on the audience can also pose their questions. So my first question is to Sujatha. How does citizen science fit into the formal state curriculum as a teaching tool in the classroom? And it will be very good if you can give us an example from the Kerala State Board curriculum to support your answer. And as a teacher, how easy or difficult is it for you to start using citizen science in the classroom? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Can I speak in Malayalam?
Yes, please. Go ahead. Thanks.
മാമിന്റെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വളരെ ക്ലിയർ ആണ്. സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസ് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും കേരളത്തിന്റെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതിയിൽ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളിക്കേണ്ടത് എന്നതാണ് എൻ്റെ അഭിപ്രായം. കാരണം കേരളത്തിലെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതി എല്ലായ്പ്പോഴും റിസർച്ചിനെ, അതേപോലെ തന്നെ പരീക്ഷണങ്ങള്, നിരീക്ഷണങ്ങള്, പ്രോജക്ട്സ് എല്ലാറ്റിനെയും കൂടെ കൊണ്ടുപോകുന്നതാണ്. അതായത് കേരളത്തിലെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതിയിൽ പഠിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കുട്ടിക്ക് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഈ കരിക്കുലത്തിലൂടെ കടന്നു പോകുമ്പോൾ സ്വയമായി പ്രകൃതിയെ, അതേപോലെ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും ചെയ്യാൻ പ്രാപ്തരാക്കുന്നതാണ് ഈ കേരളത്തിലെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതി. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസ് പോലെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങള് കേരളത്തിലെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതിയിൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഉൾക്കൊള്ളിക്കേണ്ടത് തന്നെയാണ്. ഇപ്പോ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ഒക്കെ കേരളത്തിന്റെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതിയിൽ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ മിക്ക ചാപ്റ്ററുകളും കേരളത്തിലെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതിയിലെ കാലാവസ്ഥയായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഉൾക്കൊള്ളിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. അപ്പോ സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസ് പോലെയുള്ള പദ്ധതികളിൽ കുട്ടികൾ ചേരുമ്പോൾ ഇതിനെ രണ്ടും തമ്മിൽ വളരെ നന്നായിട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ കഴിയും. പിന്നെ വേറൊരു കാര്യം പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഇപ്പൊ മാം ചോദിച്ചതുപോലെ സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസിന്റെ ഇപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങള് ടെക്സ്റ്റിലെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതി പല കാര്യങ്ങളും ഞാൻ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളിക്കാറുണ്ട്. സീസൺ വാച്ചിങ് എന്റെ ഒരുപാട് കുട്ടികൾ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. ഏകദേശം 9 വർഷത്തോളായി ഞങ്ങള് ഈ മേഖലയിൽ കുട്ടികളെ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട്. ആദ്യമൊക്കെ പ്രകൃതിയിലേക്ക് കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുമ്പോൾ വലിയ മടിയായിരുന്നു ഓരോ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട്. മണ്ണിൽ തൊടാൻ മടിയുള്ള കുട്ടികളുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ സീസൺ വാച്ചിങ് അവരെ കൊണ്ട് ചെയ്യിക്കുമ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് പ്രകൃതിയിലുള്ള ഓരോ ജീവിയെ തൊടാനുള്ള മടി ആദ്യം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും പിന്നീട് അവര് വളരെ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ, വളരെ കെയർ ആയിട്ടാണ്, എമ്പതി അവരിൽ വളർത്തിയെടുക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് കഴിയുന്നുണ്ടെന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു അനുഭവം. അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഇപ്പോ ഒരു കാലാവസ്ഥ ചേഞ്ച് ആയിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാലാണ് നമുക്കറിയാം. പക്ഷെ അത് ഈ മൾട്ടിമീഡിയയിൽ നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഈ ചേഞ്ച് തിരിച്ചറിയാൻ പലപ്പോഴും കഴിയാറില്ല. അപ്പോ സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസ് പോലെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങള്, ലൈക്ക് സീസൺ വാച്ച് പോലെയുള്ളത് നമ്മുടെ പാഠ്യപദ്ധതിയിൽ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളിക്കുമ്പോൾ അവരത് നിർബന്ധമായിട്ടും അത് പഠിക്കേണ്ടി വരും. അപ്പൊ അതിനു വേണ്ടി അവർ നിർബന്ധമായിട്ടും പ്രകൃതിയിലേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങേണ്ടി വരും. അപ്പോ ഫോണ് നോക്കി, TV നോക്കി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൊബൈൽ നോക്കിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഈ കാലത്ത് കുട്ടിക്ക് പ്രകൃതിയോട് ഇടപഴകി മണ്ണിലും മരത്തിലും ജീവികളെ തൊട്ടുമൊക്കെ കൂടെ കൊണ്ടുപോകുന്നത് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും വളരെ അനിവാര്യമാണ് എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത്. പിന്നെ സീസൺ വാച്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഈ പ്രകൃതിയിലെ മരങ്ങളെ, ചെടികൾക്കൊക്കെ കാലാവസ്ഥയ്ക്കനുസരിച്ച് മാറ്റം വരുന്നുണ്ടോ എന്ന ആദ്യം വലിയ സംശയമാണ്. പക്ഷെ അവരൊരു 6 മാസത്തോളം കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ആയിട്ട് അവരുടെ റെഗുലർ ഒബ്സർവേഷൻസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അവര് തന്നെ വന്ന് പറയാറുണ്ട് മാറ്റങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ച് നമ്മളോട്. ടീച്ചർ ഇന്ന ദിവസം പൂവുണ്ടായി, ഇന്ന ചെടിയിൽ പുതിയ ലീവ്സ് ഉണ്ടായി എന്നൊക്കെ വളരെ സന്തോഷത്തോടു കൂടിയാണ് അവർ നമ്മുടെ അടുത്ത് വന്ന് പറയാറുള്ളത്. അപ്പോ പിന്നെ മാം ചോദിച്ച രണ്ടാമത്തെ ഒരു ചോദ്യം ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, പാഠപുസ്തകമായിട്ട് യോജിപ്പിച്ചു കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ എക്സാമ്പിൾസ് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഞാൻ ആദ്യമേ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ കേരളത്തിലെ പാഠപുസ്തകങ്ങളില് എല്ലാം കാലാവസ്ഥയായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. എല്ലാ വർഷങ്ങളിലെ ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സിലും അങ്ങനെയാണുള്ളത്. അപ്പൊ ഉദാഹരണമായിട്ട് കേരളത്തിൽ മൺസൂൺ വരുന്ന സമയമാണ് ജൂൺ മാസം, ജൂൺ ജൂലൈ മാസം. അപ്പൊ കൃഷി അഗ്രികൾച്ചറുമായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ആണ് സയൻസിൽ എല്ലാ ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സിലും വരുന്നത്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ സോഷ്യൽ സയൻസിലും അതെ, കാലാവസ്ഥയായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള മഴ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കാറ്റ് അതുമായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ആണ് വരാറുള്ളത്. അപ്പൊ ഇത് പഠിപ്പിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് സീസൺ വാച്ചുമായിട്ട് നന്നായിട്ട് ലിങ്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാറുണ്ട്. അപ്പോ സീസൺ വാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്ക് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ആ മഴയുടെ വരവ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മഴ പെയ്തതോടുകൂടി പ്രകൃതിയിൽ വന്നിട്ടുള്ള ചേഞ്ചസിനെ കുറിച്ച് വേഗം അറിയാൻ കഴിയുന്നുണ്ട് മറ്റു കുട്ടികളെ അപേക്ഷിച്ചിട്ട്. പിന്നെ അപ്പോ കൃത്യമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ 6th സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡില് ഫ്ലവേഴ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സ് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ഫ്ലവർ പൂവായി ഫലമായി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഫ്ലവേഴ്സും അതിന്റെ പോളിനേഷനും അതിൽ വരുന്ന പോളിനേറ്റിംഗ് ഏജൻസിനെ ഒക്കെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ചാപ്റ്റർ വരുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് പഠിപ്പിക്കുമ്പോൾ സീസൺ വാച്ചുമായിട്ട് ഏറ്റവും നന്നായിട്ട് കോറിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ എനിക്ക് പറ്റാറുണ്ട്. കാരണം സീസൺ വാച്ചിൽ നമ്മൾ പൂക്കള് അതേപോലെ തന്നെ അതിലെ ഫ്രൂട്ട്സ് ഇതിനെ കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് നേരത്തെ തന്നെ അവയർനെസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് സീസൺ വാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന കുട്ടികൾ മറ്റു കുട്ടികൾക്ക് കൂടി ഈ പൂക്കൾ ഉണ്ടാവുന്നതും അതുപോലെ പൂക്കള് ഓരോ ചെടികളുടെയും പൂക്കൾക്ക് വരുന്ന മാറ്റങ്ങള് അതുപോലെ അവരെ കൂട്ടത്തിൽ പറയാറുണ്ട് കാലാവസ്ഥയിൽ നിന്ന് ആയിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടിട്ട് കണിക്കൊന്നയൊക്കെ കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ എപ്പോഴും കുട്ടികൾ പറയുന്ന അത് കാണാറുണ്ട്. അതായത് മുൻപ് അവരുടെ പഴയ ആൾക്കാരോട് വീട്ടിലുള്ള വയസ്സായ ആൾക്കാരോടൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കുമ്പോൾ കണിക്കൊന്ന മുൻപ് പൂത്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നത് ഒരു ഏപ്രിൽ മാസത്തിലൊക്കെ ആയിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പൊ കുട്ടികൾ പറയുന്നുണ്ട് കൊല്ലം മുഴുവനും അവരുടെ നാട്ടില് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ ചുറ്റും അവര് സീസൺ വാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന കണിക്കൊന്ന പൂക്കുന്നുണ്ട് എന്ന്. അപ്പൊ അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഈ 7th സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡിലെ ചില ചാപ്റ്റേഴ്സ് വരുന്നുണ്ട് കാലാവസ്ഥയായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട്. അപ്പോഴൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് ഈ സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസിന്റെ വർക്കുകൾ ഒരുപാട് സഹായകമാവാറുണ്ട്. താങ്ക് യു മാം. കൂടുതൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയാനുണ്ടോ?
No, thank you. Thank you. I'll just translate what you said for the other audience. Yeah, okay. And we'll come back to you with more questions from the audience.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So in her very lovely style, Sujatha just told us about her experience with citizen science. The examples that she gave are specifically from middle school curriculum. 6th and 7th standard in the Kerala school curriculums are specifically targeting a sense of academic inquiry and research. They are trying to instill these type of these types of motivations among children in these age groups. And what Sujatha is saying, that there are already content on weather, on things like monsoon, agriculture, and the link between these things that children are already learning in the 6th and the 7th standard. But there is a disconnect between what children learn in the book and how they actually react to the environment. They might go outside, but they are disgusted by touching soil or touching creatures that they are scared of or find disgusting. In such cases, citizen science is a great mid-path to introduce children to the outside world and a great connection to the curriculum also. One interesting point that Sujatha made is that if citizen science is made compulsory in schools, then there is no choice but for our technology addicted children to actually go outdoors and interact with nature. They will have to do that and perhaps get over their inhibition of touching the soil or touching a tree or touching an insect and without fear or disgust. Sujatha's students have been doing season watch for the past 9 years, like multiple batches of children have been doing season watch, and she finds it a very useful tool to connect the process of changes in trees with the overall global processes like climate change. And one example that children themselves have noticed is the timing of flowering in Cassia fistula, which is one of our favorite examples to give everywhere. Earlier, the flowering was extremely seasonal. It was expected only in the months of April. But now it's become aseasonal, and oftentimes you find cassia flowering throughout the year. So in a gist, what Sujatha said is that there is scope for integrating citizen science with middle school curriculum, especially in Kerala schools. Thank you so much, Sujatha. That was really nice. I hope I've not missed anything. And if anyone found anything missing, you please add it on the chat. Right. So our next question is for Arun. So Arun, you run the Marudam Farm School, which is an alternative school. So how easy or difficult is it to use citizen science in learning frameworks of alternative schools like yours? So, and we would also like to hear about a citizen science project that you use in your school. You're mute. You're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, I said in our school, the primary focus is to spend time in nature, and to bring the feeling for nature, inculcate back the original connection with nature, so to speak. And being in a rural area and being among underprivileged children, and this disconnect is not too deep, it is easy to bring it back. And the way we chose to do it is by spending unstructured time in nature. Of course, I had been already teaching in a city school formally for many years, but there we would do these nature trips. But here, being in a rural area, having access to an afforestation project which we are running, so a forest which is coming back, So as a part of the weekly schedule, all the children of the school spend half a day in nature, in the coming back forest of the Arunachala mountain, or various other places. So one is to enter in this unstructured manner into nature and just allowing for nature to do its own work, not being very directive and saying, look at this flower or look at that tree or whatever, but just allowing for it to happen. And I can say this has been wonderful, this whole nature can speak for herself, and we don't need to go and bring in something there. So I would say most children end up having this deep connect with nature. So where citizen science enters is in this intangible learning that happens, this feeling that happens, in some way converting it into something contributive, and also in a way recording, and also way bringing science into it, So our starting point is not science. Our starting point is feeling for nature, But all these things don't need to be in separate boxes, They can be together. So citizen science has been a way of tangibilizing the whole thing, So we have done various projects. One is like with the, I think, 6th, 7th graders. We don't have fixed age group classes. We have mixed age group classes. So I'm approximately saying 6th, 7th grade children, We did season watch, which is basically we gave each child a tree to observe through the whole year. And we would draw that, make this into a chart, and, and that whatever inputs came would be added to the season watch, program as such. And since everything was getting somewhere recorded, I think it brought a little bit more focus than usual, everyone does anyway spend time, but this somehow, this is what we did, and it's something we could show the children also, and how it was. When she was speaking, there was a barbet in the background with me, there are dogs in the background. The other one has been, drawing from NCF, Nature Conservation Foundation, phenological studies. Sorry. Yes, just in the mouth. So we have been doing in the last 2 years, we have been doing phenological studies, So basically we go on a certain trail and we look at certain trees every few weeks, trees, plants, whatever, like the whole flowering, fruiting, pollination happening, butterflies, their egg laying, whatever one can observe. So adding layers to the, observation, right? Like you go and you see a tree in bloom, but if you can also get to see which organism pollinates it, and and if it's a butterfly, when is which are the butterflies, and when are they laying eggs, and do the caterpillars feed on this tree or that tree? There can be layers of things that you can learn and record, So one is trying to do that. So iNaturalist is really useful for this. So we have two groups that we have created, Thiruvannamalai Biodiversity Group and Arunachala Biodiversity something. And so all our observations we have been recording in that. I think as a group we have been doing it now with something plus 7,000 plus observations that come together. In our case, children are not so technology bound, and so they're not stuck with their phones and stuff like that. So it's not such a big deal, and they're very happy to be without technology. So we have to tell them, actually carry your phone and come so that we can take photographs, I mean, it sounds a bit unusual, but when children don't have so much access to technology, they are not necessarily stuck in it. The thing which have been running longest is eBird. We take part in all the eBird events, and because on an everyday basis, we are all bird watching all the time. And to put it down somewhere, like somebody like me, I feel it's very important to record the arrival of the pitta or all the migrant birds that come in here, the winter migrants that come in here, all the particular things that happen through the year, that mark the year, that mark our natural year, and we have been doing it on eBird. So I would say, all the citizen science forums have been very useful for us to record all that is happening. And in some way, it feels like we are contributing as well. Like, we are learning, we are contributing, and there is something to show also. This is what I would say. And so it is a very useful tool. And for those who are not so naturally inclined, this could be a starting point itself. Like, that the invitation to participate. So I've been telling other schools as well, create groups, create these outings, and put this information out. And I see that it is working. Like, so I'm also a bit of an advocate of using citizen science to bring, to particularly children who are disconnected, to bringing nature back to them. This is what I feel.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that response. It's a very interesting contrast. I would say that the children in Marudam school and let's say children in Palakkad, they are facing, these are very different places from which children are coming, and how that affects how they interact with nature. Thanks so much for that. I'll move on to our next panelist and hear from her. So so the question for Bhuvan is, so you were instrumental in introducing a citizen science project into the higher education, which is the university curriculum. Can you tell us about some of the major challenges that you faced, while doing this, and what is your takeaway? I mean, given your understanding of our university, system and the curricula, do you think they're adaptable to citizen science and open to absorbing this?
Yeah, thank you, Geeta. So the first thing and foremost, because the course which I offered, which was Introduction to Plant Biology, and is it very basic course or 200 level, which is something first or second year of students enroll for that. Now, the major challenge was that when we study plant biology or botany, which is an exhaustive whole degree, we get into that. But shrinking the very major aspect of teaching plant biology in a semester course, and that also to in like 20 to 30 sessions, is something, the very first challenge what I faced. So I had done a sort of a survey in my school where I asked students what is the most interesting thing about nature they want to learn. So based on that, I started designing my curriculum. Now, another challenge what I had faced at that point was that how, because botany or plant biology is something what you teach them outside of the classroom. Most of the time, either you're in a garden or in a botanical garden and you teach them. And that is my fundamental of teaching. So I designed a course in which at least I would say my 50 to 60% of sessions were in our campus, in the garden where we have an arboretum of many different biological flora. And plus, I had some practical sessions on plant anatomy. So that plant, and then I had been thinking to give some sort of projects also when I was designing the course. So I had some other kind of projects in my mind, and then when I sent out the curriculum to my division, I got one interesting aspect. I came because I didn't have any idea about citizen science before, to be honest. But then I sent out my curriculum. I had a colleague, Dr. Ratna Ghoshal, who is also an ecologist. So she suggested me that, Bhuvan, there is a citizen science project, and if you'd like to incorporate that. And that was a complete sort of, blend for me, that opportunity I had been looking for. And that was the thing that completely connected my teachings of plant taxonomy, anatomy to this citizen science. And students are tech savvy nowadays. So this came as a very handy tool for me even to incorporate this curriculum. And the good thing about our university is that the faculties have their own discretion to design courses. So we don't follow any rigorous state government or central government defined patterns. So that was the biggest independence I have, that I can design the course the way I want. So that was easier for me. And so that once the design was approved and everything was there, the second major challenge was to attract number of students, because till now at this level still I'm offering as a major elective rather than going as a core course. So I'm in a process of doing it, making it as a core course, but that will happen once the entire syllabus will be revised and entire curriculum be restructured. But fortunately, our management has agreed on that already. So that's a good news. But so then second thing came to me that, okay, fortunately, I got good number of students, at around 20 students I had in the class. So that was good enough number. Now, the major challenge came that in the season watch, the number of tree species which have been given in the list, those species were not all present in our campus. And the fact that this Ahmedabad University is located, it's right in the center of the main city. So you will see very less number of tree species surrounding the campus or even the local residential localities of students. So that was another challenge for me. But then I found a solution that at least whatever tree species you have, that you can start recording the phenology of that. So even though they are not available in season watch, we can start checking a phenology of that. So that alternate solution came to me, and that really worked well. So far, and that was actually very well taken by our deans as well, that this project really helped students to understand. And there was a direct connection where I had included one botanical tour also, what Dr. Arun had been saying about it. That so that botanical tour component and this citizen science project really gave a boost to students' morale, because they just had to go out in the wild, look at how the plants have been behaving over a period of time. And I made compulsory for them that unless and until you don't do this, your grades will not be given. So that was a big check mark they had. And that really worked in favor of this project. So far, I think only one challenge what I have been facing is that since this citizen science was incorporated, I really wanted some students to do for the entire year. But because students keep changing their streams, they keep changing their years and courses, it's not really possible to have them doing throughout the year for this phenology. So that is one challenge what I have been facing till now. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that summary, Bhuvan. It's really interesting to note, at the university level where there's lots more autonomy as, the person designing a curriculum. It's in a sense easy maybe to incorporate citizen science, but also there are a whole lot of other challenges.
Yes.
It's also interesting that, citizen science is supposed to be completely voluntary. And, here, but in this system, maybe we need to incentivize it in some way, like, or like you said, there's a threat of not getting a grade.
Yeah.
So maybe we should find ways around that to make it truly contributory and voluntary in that system. Thanks so much. Thanks for that, Bhuvan.
Thank you.
Oops. Yeah. And the question for our final panelist is, Shyam, how has the citizen science course in Nalanda University helped in mapping the biodiversity of the region? And if you have any major learnings from having a formal course on citizen science, I think we'll all really like to hear that. Thanks.
Thank you, Gita, for inviting me. So, as I said, as you said, I'm a by training a forest or graduate, and then I'm a seed ecologist. So, when I came, Nalanda University give me chance to introduce any course. So I introduced the citizen science because that time I was written back a couple of years back from the Germany, and when I was in Germany, I know the citizen science in Europe is taking very big shape in a university level. So I thought, let's introduce it. If it will work, it's okay. But it worked in a very first year, within a 1 month of my joining the Nalanda University. This course, we offered that as a audit course. Audit course means the student can audit us. We cannot audit, grade the students. Then in 2019 onwards, it became a full elective course. And when I joined the Nalanda University, so at that time I looked what is the biodiversity of now, because I'm coming from the Himalaya, I'm from the Nainital and work in a Garhwal Himalaya, and coming from the Uttarakhand as a forestry graduate in a Bihar. So I thought either there is some plant or forest around there. So when I was checking the Nalanda University, because there is a Rajgir Wildlife Sanctuary, then we thought, what is the inventory of the biodiversity or inventory of the tree species around there? Hello?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the inventory of that? Then I found hardly there is no inventory. And I found a small inventory of the Rajgir Wildlife Sanctuary. There is a Rajgir Zoo Safari was, and there is an EIA report only. So in EIA report, you have some inventory of the tree, birds, and all kinds of things. Then I launched this course, and it was well taken by the students. And before that, I used the iNature because I was using the iNet platform before coming to the Nalanda University when I was in a Garhwal University. So then I realized how many data in iNet from this region. Then I found until 2017, there was only 55 observations. Only 55 observations on iNet. Then I launched this course. Then now we have a 4,000 observations of 1,000 species with the 93 citizen scientists. And you will be surprised when I look in the morning how many data points from the whole Bihar. And from the whole Bihar, we have only 7,500 observation in iNet. Out of that, 4,000 plus is from the within Nalanda University campus or around the Rajgir. And like in whole Bihar, we have a 1,600 species, but out of that, 1,000 species are from the Rajgir, where the university located. And I realized because most of time, the butterfly is, that these are a very charismatic and so I always fight against the ecological blindness and plant blindness, and found majority of time whenever there is any citizen science program always have some kind of the bias towards the bird or towards the butterfly. So why not the plants? And then when we have in Nalanda University more than students from the more than 33 countries, so they gone back. And so I thought the Nalanda University, where we are introduced to like a citizen science, is a pedagogical tool where we teach what is not known, what is the process of knowing. So, and they learn it not within the boundary of the classroom, beyond the boundary of the classroom, or beyond the days of the university. And surprisingly, a lot of my students, they went back to the Africa, they went to the Bhutan, they went to the Indonesia, they went to the different part of the world, and they are continuously contributing. And when they are in a campus, they are competing with me because I'm here for the 5 years, they remain for the 1 or 2 years. So they are competing with me, who is contributing more observation and more data. And if you're surprised, like when you introduce this course, first, like I said, we are very successful mapping the biodiversity of the Nalanda. Now, my second challenge was like how to judge, because in university system, after all, you have to, if you are running an elective course, so you have to grade the students because it is part of the becoming their marks and evolution score and things. So how to grade them? So in Nalanda University, we have in a semester, we have a mid-semester examination for the 20 marks and semester marks with 30 exam, and then 30 marks is as a continuous assignment. So I give like open your citizen science account, or either you are an iNet, you are a season watch, you are a ant picnic, you are a global observer, you are observing the cloud, they are observing the tree for a NASA global observer program. And there is a lot of gaming program, like the Hold It game, iWare gaming program. Play a game, but you have to open your profile. And at the end of the semester, I need at least 30 to 50, the observations from you, where you can show me your, you put your profile and show me a 2-page, not a big 2-page report, what you learn during these. And there's a lot of museums around the world and herbaria, they need to be digitalized. So they cannot digitalize millions of the data they have. So I ask my students, these are the herbaria. They are looking for the citizen science to digitalize their photograph. There is an interface to digitalize what they've written up. So participate them. So by that way, you can learn about the little bit about the plants, a little bit about the other animal. And I give a full freedom. If you are a night watcher, sky, you can just night sky watch. If you are interested in NASA, related to go. What about even then? I also say, like, when you are going after the MSc, you are going to graduate. So you may be some of you may be planning to NGOs, and some you may be planning the PhD program. So keep your profile of the citizen science. Your grade will be not matter, but your citizen science profile may land you for the PhD program, may land you in a better, PhD positions. And I also type, because these university graduates are much more techno-savvy compared to the, because they have a full freedom of birth, they have all kind of the high-end mobile phone. So I feel like a technology can be a facilitator for the to current research and enablers for the research avenue, and it can be a transformer for the science policies and a public participation, and it can be an inhibitor, because some of the older generations people, they not are a techno savvy, so they, maybe you are a traditional taxonomist, you are traditional bird watcher, you are not very comfortable maybe in eBird, or you maybe not. So I always said, I talk them about the ethics and policies, and then how the crowdsourcing, and then the major challenges in citizen science program, in any citizen science program, maybe Geeta, you already facing, retaining that citizen science is a very big. So I thought, how you retain them, how you recruit them, how you retain them, how you motivate them. And then I say, look, it is the university need to make a, the citizen science club, like we have a musical club, we have a photography club, we have a, so we need, every university campus need a citizen science club. And we are in process to, popularize the citizen science and taking it as a goal. So some of the publications are bringing where we are thinking how the citizen science can be changed, our process of learning, and it become instead of they know the name of the plant, they know the name of the insect by, the very typical, so they can pay. And good thing is here, we have a student from not in Nalanda for doing the ecology and environmental MSc. You can come from the English background, BA in English background. So you, and then all discipline are open. So here they are coming, like some history students come. So I ask them, you may be coming the ecological human history or ecological history you are, so you can take the citizen science, how the different historical things change from how the much, there is a lot of historical monuments. Historical monument was defaced by the peoples, and you can look, ask the people to get the photograph of 1 square feet, and you can see how the historical monuments were defaced. So that way, we know a lot about the Nalanda's history, but through this citizen science project, I'm happy we have now more than 7,000 observations of the 1,600 species from the Bihar,
Lovely.
and majority of them, 50%, that's coming from the Nalanda district itself.
That's so wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, Shyam. I mean, I think it's great evidence that having something like a formal citizen science course really helps, further our biodiversity goals at the university and college level. We don't have any more time for talking amongst each other. I'll actually go on to the audience questions that we have received, and there are quite a few. So I think, so there are lots of questions for everyone. Oops, okay. So what we can do is we can take one question per panelist right now. And if you can all, give your answers for the rest of the questions addressed to you on the Discord channel, that will be very good. Thank you. So, okay. So the first question is for Sujatha. Okay, it's a very nice concept where there is an academic curriculum connecting with some practical and interesting connect with nature around. There must also be an increase in interest in academic component. But are there any grades and evaluations on the practical involvement in citizen science project in your school? Sujatha ma'am, you can answer in Malayalam. I'll translate. Are there any grades?
Ma'am, please, I can't hear you. Please, once more, the question.
Can you hear me?
Once more?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please, question once more.
Yeah, so Prabhakar has said that it's a very interesting connection you have made of citizen science with curriculum. He's asking, are there any grades or evaluation of the practicals that children do as part of citizen science? A formal grading and evaluation.
No. അതാണ് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രശ്നം. അതായത് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒരു ഇവാലുവേഷൻ, ഒരു ഗ്രേഡിങ്ങോ ഒരു ഇൻസെന്റീവോ നമുക്ക് കൊടുക്കാൻ കഴിയണില്ല. പക്ഷേ നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ് റൂമിൽ അവര് ഇവാലുവേഷൻ നമ്മൾ കൊടുത്തില്ലെങ്കിൽ കൂടി അവരായിരിക്കും ഏത് പ്രവർത്തനത്തിലും ടോപ്പ് റാങ്ക് ആയിട്ട് വരുന്നത്. കാരണം നേച്ചറുമായിട്ട് നല്ല റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് അവര് പുലർത്തുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ അവരാണ് ഒരു മറ്റ് സയൻസ് പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ മുൻപന്തിയിൽ നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അതാണ് റിയലി ഈ ഒരു സിറ്റിസൺ സയൻസ് കുട്ടികളിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കാനുള്ള വലിയൊരു ചാലഞ്ച് ആയിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഫീൽ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. കാരണം പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒരു ഇൻസെന്റീവ് ഒന്നും കൊടുക്കണില്ല, ഇറ്റ്സ് വോളണ്ടിയർ. അപ്പൊ വോളണ്ടിയർ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നതാണല്ലോ. അപ്പോ അത് ശരിക്കും കൊടുക്കണം എന്ന് എനിക്കൊരു ചെറിയൊരു അഭിപ്രായം ഉണ്ട്. മാത്രമല്ല ചെറിയ കുട്ടികളല്ലേ, ചെറിയ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് നമ്മൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും മോട്ടിവേഷൻസ് കൊടുത്തില്ലെങ്കിൽ അവര് ഇതിലേക്ക് എത്തില്ല. ഞാൻ പക്ഷെ സ്കൂളില് ആനുവൽ ഡേക്ക് അവർക്ക് കൂടുതൽ നന്നായി ചെയ്യുന്ന സീസൺ വാച്ചിങ് കൂടുതൽ നന്നായി ചെയ്യുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ബെസ്റ്റ് സീസൺ വാച്ചർ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ സ്വയം ട്രോഫിയൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കാറുണ്ട്.
Thank you. Thanks so much. So Sujatha says that there's no formal assessment at the school level, but she has observed that children who participate in citizen science are able to do better in their academics. They are often, toppers in the science, in science subjects. The other thing she does is she gives prizes of her own accord to children who have done well in season watch. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for the... So yeah, she's providing her own motivation to children to participate. Thanks so much. Next, we have a question from Vijay Barve for Arun. Arun, are you there? Yeah.
Yes.
Do you or your school also participate in events like City Nature Challenge, National Moth Week, Big Butterfly Month? How is your experience with these events?
Yes, we do participate, like particularly great backyard bird count, the month week, and so on and so forth. Because, while nature observation is a part of life, a part of everyday life, I would say, these things bring a particular focus, isn't it? Like the moth week is during the monsoon and there is a proliferation of moths. So to do a recording of all the moth species at that time is a useful exercise both for us and also we are contributing in the same time. So definitely we do participate in the big events, and yes, they bring back a particular focus, a reminder now and then that we are not alone, that we are part of a much larger community in the world, who is also interested in these things. Because sometimes you could feel, working alone in a small place, like, we are the one, it's like living in a bubble, This way you connect to the whole world, and you connect to being part of a exercise which is carried right across. So yes, we do.
Thanks for that, Arun. There's a question from Paul. Yeah. So I guess this is for Bhuvan. I wonder how much actual interest is generated when making such nature-associated activities mandated as part of course or a curriculum. Could they be doing shoddy data collection to earn marks or grades, or actually generating scientifically useful data? And what's the quality control? Some students may just be generating their own data to earn marks or grades if it's a mandated activity.
Yeah. So far, I think, yeah, of course, to a certain extent, that is true. But also, I try to incentivize those things for students who do some sort of outstanding work in that. Because my main aim in the long run, after maybe like we have a data, because this was just first year I had started this activity, this teaching of this course. So over a period of 5 or 6 years, I want to do a sort of phenological survey of how this in the urban landscape, this data has been, can be used to track the phenology of this tree species. And I have told students already that their names will be there in the as a contributors to generate this data. So of course, and I had some wonderful students in the class who had really done well in collecting the data, because they had already done that part as a in their school days. So it was really easy for me also to have them in the group activity so that they can motivate other students as well. And nowadays, in one of the other course I teach on the plant tissue culture and biotechnology, I give as an assignment to have students grow their own plants. Like it is given in the very first month of the semester, and they have to keep growing until end. And they come to me with various pictures that, ma'am, squirrels or monkeys have destroyed our plant. So I tell them that how difficult it is to nurture them and how difficult it is to cultivate them. And then they have to make a report on that. So it's not just from the perspective of grading them, but also to make them appreciate the nature, that how, so that sense of ownership of the nature they have to take. So that is my main motto of having these activities behind it. I hope I answered Paul's question.
Yeah, thanks, Bhuvan. I guess, yeah, students might be coming from different motivations to the project, and like attachment to nature being a primary motivation would be maybe lead to less instances of people lying or
Yes.
misreporting. Yeah.
If I
Thanks
can,
so much for that.
yeah, if I can add,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
we took like when I see iNaturalist platform of the profile of my student, I see how casually they contributing the data. I warn them, don't name the butterfly of plant. Just say, okay, this is plant, this is butterfly. Don't go for the for research. Get once two persons are supporting of any organism, then it will by wrongly it will go to the research grade in iNaturalist. So don't do it until unless you are 100% sure about that particular individual. So I always want them to not be so casual, because it is these data somewhere going to be used for the real science. Be very cautious whenever they are producing any kind of the these kind of the data.
Yeah, and one more last thing to add, that when it comes to that, if the data is correct, I go with students group who are doing that activity. I go with them in campus. I personally check that, okay, what they have entered in the Excel sheet or what they have recording in the season watch app are matching with each other. So I have a kind of running Google sheet that they have to keep updated every time, and based on that I grade them. So those who contribute more, even in a group, they will get more grade. Otherwise, they will suffer. So that is one parameter I have kept for them for grading, and I will go personally and keep a check on that as well.
Right, right. Maybe something that's emerging here is that in a formal education space, without maybe a grading and that kind of incentivization, looks like it might be a little difficult to get good quality data.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
Shyam, are you saying something?
Yeah, can I add? So sometimes I give like when I have to do like because university also needs some kind of the record in writing record and examination. So in that I also look the out of the box. I said, okay, you think about your city, your village, your district, and there may be a number of the environmental and ecological problem or the social problem. Think you are running or launching a citizen science project. What will be your approach? What will be your title of the citizen science project? I need or like abstract form of what will be your methodology, what will be your expected outcome. So this will be like a 10 marks or 15 marks questions, and I need a how creative that the other one year one of the students said like we have a lot of these free roaming cow. So how they want, and then there is a lot of their street dogs and how these problems. So they come a lot of citizen science related, the ideas how they can utilize citizen science. So at the end of the day, they realize, okay, these are the area where they can do. Or sometimes I run like a there is a like a lot of YouTube video. I say, okay, this is YouTube video I'm going to play. Now you have to make a comment on this in an abstract form. So when I take the examination, I take examination not in like a very traditional way. So they become more creative, more engaging. And when they will going to join any NGOs or any, so they become a more informed person, and they may be more fit for the university or a job prospects also.
So I guess the process of doing citizen science itself has, meaning the approach is more like problem solving rather than getting a grade in that particular course. And that is, of course, long-term, it's a long-term education rather than just an undergraduate education. Arun, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I was thinking that our observation have helped natural conservation, whether it be a water body or a piece of forest, development is always happening which threatens these things, So when you want to declare something as a area which is valuable, ecologically valuable, the only data that has been available has been the citizen science recordings, It's actually worked in presenting to NGT, data on what we have observed. They are particularly interested in endangered species or rare species and all that. And the only recordings would be what we have presented, I mean, what we have means as a group of people who are doing citizen science. Otherwise, these studies don't happen that often, So, but now all the people can participate in protecting something that they value, So, purely from the conservation point of view, also, this is extremely valuable.
So do students find that valuable to be contributing at that level? Right,
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Imagine, like, if you can, by through your contribution, if you can save a water body from being destroyed or a tract of forest, I mean, at such an young age to participate in this way in something like that is extremely, acknowledging of what they have done, and no, they're of course very happy to do things like that,
Right. That's I mean, incredible to know that that's a very nice long-term incentive for children to be participating in citizen science also. Yeah. I think we have one question for Shyam. Mittal is asking, there are so many observations on INAT. Have you also introduced students to bird watching and eBird?
Yeah, some of my students, those are, the bird watcher, they have a hobby of the bird watcher. They also, the contributing the data for the eBird form. So like last year, one of my students was a mechanical engineer. Then he done a mechanical engineering teaching in for the 10 year. Then he come back to as a second master in ecology. So he done the biodiversity of the Nalanda campus, the campus bird biodiversity. And then he uploaded these data both in eBird platform and got a certificate from these eBird things.
Right.
So I give a freedom. Either you want to become like the galaxy, and from the galaxy to the sea, wherever they can see, find, even play a game. So always encourage, depending on the, I'm not forced only as a plant or as a butterfly. Whatever the citizen science platform they like, they can join, but they have to show some kind of the things. And I encourage them. This can be, I say, citizen science profile is your currency. Your grade maybe not. No one will ask your grade. Use your citizen science profile as your currency.
Right. Thank you so much to all the panelists for participating today. I think that's all the time we have. As a summary, I would like to, I think maybe, I'm sure everyone will agree here that there's a lot of hope in utilizing citizen science as a very powerful pedagogy tool, right from, empowering children to take action in the face of all these large changes that are happening around them in their environment, to feel a sense of place, and to be able to contribute meaningfully to scientific inquiry at a later stage, not just as children, but also at the undergraduate level. And kudos to all of you for having incorporated citizen science in your pedagogy. And I'm so happy that this conversation started here today in this conference. And I hope that it stays strong, current, and is discussed in all future editions of this conference. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Akshata, over to you for the next session.
Thank you. Thank you, Geeta
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, Geeta.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. A quick round of announcements I have before we end this live session. We will be going live tomorrow at 10 a.m. But for now, we will be going on a break for an hour, and we'll be back in the 1st December poster channel with poster presentations for today. The channel will be up shortly, and you probably don't see it now, but we'll be putting it up in a bit during the lunch hour. And you'll see it appear, you'll see the channel appear on the left-hand panel. You can post your questions / comments for each of the presentations there in the dedicated threads. And finally, before we go offline for today, many of you have participated in the polls that were posted in the lounge channel. If you can also please leave your questions for Bhavya and Jagan in the Practitioners Clinic channel there, which will be live tomorrow. So Bhavya and Jagan will be online tomorrow to address all of your questions. So if you could just post them today, that would be great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And see you back after the break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.